Oh, this is great.
Okay, I gotta mess with controls. Okay, I have to turn off the camera. Yeah, everyone should have functionality this time. Hi, everyone. I think last time no one had access to their cameras or mics. If that is the case, again, I don't think it is, but if so, please let me know in the chat. Ah, Peter, thank you for jumping on camera.
I will be eating a
Awesome, yeah.
burger, so I'm going to keep my camera off, but I appreciate it.
All good. Awesome, and thank you for keeping me honest, man.
Anytime.
Perfect. So we're only two after. We'll maybe give it about another minute. Want some folks to wrap up some other meetings. Understand that this is lunchtime in the Eastern time zone, so folks might just be grabbing a quick bite, coffee, whatever the case may be. But I definitely don't want to punish the punctual. Lots of content to rip through today, so we'll make sure that we get this webinar on the tracks ASAP. And for the folks that are in here, my name's Adam Prue. I am the North America Community Manager here at GTIA. Joined today by special guest Anders Mikkelsen. He'll be ripping through his webinar, which I will allow him to introduce. But as always, feel free to jump on camera if you'd like. If not, no problem. The chat and the Q&A are open as well. Want to make this as interactive and as engaging as possible. So don't hold back if you have questions. Let us know. We'll jump in and we'll have Anders answer any questions at an appropriate time. So,
yeah, really looking forward to questions. It shouldn't take that long. We should definitely have plenty of time for discussion at the end.
Okay. I know I said 1 minute. We'll wait till 12:04.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm sure, sadly, often a few minutes late myself, so want to give everyone some grace.
For sure.
Are y'all doing anything for Halloween?
No plans on this end, although I'm sure there'll be lots of kids wandering around at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. I remember when I was a kid, we'd all go out at dark.
Oh, yeah. Yep. My wife and I, we got to figure out our costumes. I'm thinking maybe Bobby Boucher and Vicky Valancourt or something. I don't know.
I was telling somebody
boy.
I was explaining to somebody this morning that when I was a kid in the UK, if you went out trick-or-treating, you get a damn good whack around the head for begging. So I still find it sort of slightly difficult despite living here 10 years. Like, stop begging.
That's how my mom would feel whenever she saw the older kids trying to trick or treat.
Okay. Without further ado, if people trickle in, awesome. They'll catch up. No big deal. Just for everyone who is on the line right now, this will be recorded, so we will send everyone the recording. Afterwards, just let us kind of clean up a couple of things. We'll make sure it's nice and tight and crisp, and we'll get everyone access to that. So a couple of obligatory slides to share here. We won't even go into presentation mode, but sort of first and foremost, not really, but truly thank you everyone for taking the time to join us this afternoon. Understand asking for an hour of your time is a big thing these days, but we truly appreciate you spending your afternoon with us, or morning if you're on the West Coast, or from England, but it sounds like you're here now. Anyways, welcome to the North America Community Virtual Sessions. Today we'll be discussing invisible IT savings, how MSPs can find hidden budget for their clients and unlock growth. So for all the MSPs on the line, even vendors, I'm sure you're going to want to hear this. One quick slide here, always operating our GTI meetings under our antitrust statement and code of conduct. Essentially, look, we're not here to discuss any sort of trade agreements. We never do, but long story short, be cool, be nice, we'll get along, everything will be good. So without further ado, Anders Mikkelsen, please take it away.
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, thank you so much, Adam. And yeah, this is an honor. I'm excited to get to do this. And let me, okay, here, we'll try to turn on the presenter mode now. If I do it this way, I'm probably not doing it the right way. If I do it, Is this, I don't even know if it's the right way to do this on
You
Teams.
have it.
I use Zoom all the time. Can you guys see me properly? And can you see
Oh.
my presentation if I do it this way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does this look
cool.
good or terrible?
Looks good.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. All right. Well, I'll give it a shot. Oh, I see. I'm off to the, oh, am I in the center or something? No.
Nope.
Anyway,
You're off
okay.
to
Hopefully,
right, probably your left.
yeah, I have no idea what everyone else is saying. So I'll just go for it. So I'm Anders Mikkelsen. I'm a consultant. I started Berlin Pacific, a consulting firm. I have a background in IT infrastructure management. So I've been, managed all sorts of IT, but then for most of the last 20 years, I focused more on helping IT departments, primarily at mid-sized organizations, save money on their IT vendors. And I'm going to try to share stuff which I think could be educational for MSPs. And the title of my talk is Invisible IT Savings, How MSPs Can Find Hidden Budget for Clients and Unlock Growth. So, okay, let's see, get this to work. And there we go. So this is for MSPs who are interested in unlocking more value from existing clients by moving up the value chain, providing business solutions, being a strategic advisor, freeing up client budget dollars for your solutions, and having something new to offer clients or prospects. And one of my assumptions is that you guys genuinely want to help your clients, and I think that there's some real value in here which will help your clients, and we'll kind of go into that. So I found that many MSP clients and just organizations in general struggle with IT budgets. I will say that my sweet spot has definitely been more firms which have maybe 100 employees to a few thousand employees, but I've definitely worked with smaller businesses. I've also worked with larger enterprises as well. But that's definitely the area where I have the bulk of my experience. And so I believe that if you can help uncover hidden savings in IT vendor costs, for example, telecom, cloud, software as a service, I believe that clients will trust you more and reinvest savings in strategic projects, which is to say projects which you think are the best for your client and probably things which you can sell and offer them or somehow participate in and will help your business as well. And so the key takeaways and agenda for today: helping clients save money builds long-term MSP relationships. I think I saw some comments about what does it mean to be a partner on LinkedIn. And one of the things I was thinking about a partner is a partner makes sure that the people they work with get value, whereas someone who's a vendor is sort of like, take it or leave it. It's kind of maybe the person who sells a vehicle, and it's kind of buy it as is, and either it works or it doesn't for you. So I think that helps build a relationship to help make sure that your clients are getting the most value from their IT budget. And IT vendors, it's probably an obvious statement, it's a common area where IT budgets leak money, and 6 to 7 figure wins happen all the time. Now, clearly, I'm talking about sort of that larger mid-sized business and smaller enterprise market. But I think this could also be of help if you guys have clients who are smaller, and it's probably actually going to be simpler for you to help, to be honest, and more stuff you can do on your own without having to use outside experts. I'm going to talk about practical steps to audit and optimize IT vendor contracts and billing, how to position your MSP as a business partner, not just an IT provider. I think this is a big thing a lot of people have been talking about, and hopefully I will provide some insights which will go along with all the other things which GTIA is telling you guys, and all the great experts who are here are talking to you guys about. And the last one is how to leverage IT cost optimization to fund digital transformation for clients. I've definitely seen how my clients have saved a lot of money and been really thankful, and they've been able to have that budget now to work on projects they wanted to do, but we're finding hard to find the budget for. So why should we listen to you? Well, firms like Walmart, Citibank, RSM McGladrey, O'Neill Steel, Sonder, and the makers of Zell has asked me to help them save money on IT vendors' costs. So I do have a track record. I've worked with well over 100 firms. I've been doing this for a while. And I even wrote a book, Principles of Telecom Expense Management. And some companies are using this as a training manual. And if you got really into this topic, you could actually buy this book, or I could even give it to you for free since you're on this webinar. And you could see that there are principles in there which apply to IT vendor services spending. And actually, it applies to services spending in general. I mean, you could apply it to credit card processing fees or insurance or whatever you want. So anyway, we'll definitely send you a complimentary copy if you DM me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from any of you guys, and also just happy to have a conversation offline. I'm happy to spend an hour or two talking to anyone on this webinar. Thanks for showing up, and yeah, I'd love to get to chat with anyone if it'd be helpful. And so my thesis, helping clients save money, builds long-term MSP relationships. And I strongly encourage MSPs to help take responsibility for your clients' IT budgets. And I know that there's all sorts of different MSPs and there are all sorts of different relationships, but I think to the degree that you're working there, I think a lot of people want MSPs to be kind of an extension of their team, to be that sort of IT department outside the IT department. So the more you can do to help your clients, and the more authority does flow to those people who take responsibility. So if you can do things to try to help them with their IT budget, I think that would be a good long-term play and help entrench you in your clients. And I think it's the right thing to do as well, and because it's really the best for everybody. So I'm recommending, be strategic advisors, help clients reallocate budget away from legacy to innovation that adds value. So we'll be talking about some of that, but there's a lot of, and I'm going to even be in one of the future slides, but I think a lot of spending is sort of on the same old, same old. So as the Boston Consulting Group says, cost management remains an executive priority in 2025. And I think people have seen a lot of stuff in the market too, where a lot of people are very nervous to pull the trigger, to make decisions, which they know they should make. And I think there's partly a lot of that is around uncertainty. And I think cost management is something which can be, I think should continue to be a priority. And then here's sort of a slide from Gartner Group, just talking about strategic cost optimization opportunities. And I'm happy to share this slide deck with anyone, but you can see vendors and contracts I've highlighted, infrastructure, operations, IT security, disaster recovery. So these are big opportunity areas. These are areas where I play a lot. I'm not as familiar with IT staffing and processes, and depending, I guess, on how I'm not as familiar with the applications governance in terms of that sort of developing your own software type of thing. But I'm sure there's a lot there. But so I'm going to focus more on the two I've highlighted in this talk. And so some stats I've heard: 70 to 80% of budget is keeping the lights on. 94% of enterprises overspend on the cloud. 25% of IT budget is still telecom related. Up to 30% of IT assets are wasted, which means they're not really being used for anything. I don't know if all of these are how solid they are, but I think there's definitely a substantial reality behind each of these stats, especially the first one. I think we've all seen that there's never enough money for everything, and a lot of money is kind of pre-allocated for the same old, and you're just kind of stuck the same legacy stuff. So I guess the good question is, do CIOs have more projects than budgets? Would love to put something in the chat there if you agree or disagree with that statement. But everybody I talk to seems to feel like there's never enough money for everything, which they'd like to do. So another question would be, how would it affect your clients if they had more money, more budget for new projects, and how would it affect you personally? I think that's a good thing to think about and contemplate as we go through this. So I believe that clients value business partners who help them grow, and IT vendors, they're a common area where IT budgets leak money, and 6 to 7 figure wins happen all the time. So organizations spend a lot on vendors, depends on the organization, obviously, but in my experience, that's the case for most of them. Often vendors have complex bills and contracts, and no one really knows what anything should cost. I guess I'll throw this story out there. I remember when I was a sales engineer, and I was helping to sell network management software. This is decades ago. Really great stuff from Prisma Spectrum, advanced at the time. And we were sitting in the conference room in Manhattan with a guy from Lucent, and fun guy. And he was saying, yeah, we have this complimentary software, and he says, what's the great thing about this software? No one has any idea what it costs, and we just want adoption. So you know what? You can sell this for $100,000 very easily, just like your software, and it works great. But because we're buddies, and you can sell it for free because we just want people to use it. And so I was like, wow, that's very eye-opening, and that happens to be the case a lot with a lot of IT vendor services. No one really knows what anything should cost, and there's a lot of opportunity to, inflate and deflate how much is spent. So in my opinion, there are three key types of leaks when it comes to IT vendors: paying for billing errors and overcharges, paying for things you don't really use, paying for overpriced solutions. And these are also, as we'll get into, this is also granular. So so there's certain things where it's like, yep, everything's fine, but then there's other certain details where it's like, yeah, you're actually paying for a lot of stuff you don't need or paying overpriced, and it's hard to distinguish between the two. So my thesis, if you can help clients in any of these areas, that frees up IT budget dollars, I think by definition, and these are dollars they can spend with you. And I think that's great for everybody. And so this could be you. So here's an email from a client. They say, this is awesome. Thanks, Anders. And I'm telling them, hey, this saves you $353,000 because we got rid of all these unused circuits and got you credit for these billing mistakes. And that's going to save you almost $1.3 million over the next 4 years. Sent them the documentation. They're really happy. They also sent me a note that the boss, like my client's boss, was happy because he didn't have to do any work. And so here's some practical steps to audit and optimize IT vendor contracts and billing. So my suggestion is follow the money. And I don't know that much about your guys. And is everyone doing like regular strategic business reviews with clients, especially clients who you do a lot of business with, where you meet with them regularly? I definitely recommend that you do, and it's definitely something worth looking into. And another thing some people are doing as well is technology roadmap meetings to kind of plan the future with the clients. And so these are definitely things which can be really helpful. And I recommend that when you're doing these things, integrate asking clients about their IT spending and where vendors should improve. I don't know if everyone's already doing that. Yeah, I'd love to hear some comments in the chat about this one way or the other, and also in the Q&A. So my suggestion is identify total spending with each vendor. Find out how much they're paying. How much money goes to Microsoft, how much money goes to AT&T, how much money goes to AWS, et cetera. Are they spending on Salesforce? Whatever it is. And then my suggestion is analyze spending with each vendor, and first focus on vendors with complex bills and large dollar totals. So, there's definitely some vendors out there, I'm sure, where it's like, yeah, you pay like $100,000 a year, but essentially what you're getting is like Bob, who's like a consultant, who's like helping with something. That's a relationship. I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can do with that in terms of what I'm talking about in this presentation. But I'm talking about more like, you look at the bill and there's hundreds or thousands of different services and line billing items, and it rolls up to 6-7 figures. So I would focus first on complex billing and large dollar totals and vendors of client concern. Maybe balance the two. See what the client's most interested in, but also tell the client, we should probably take a look at these complex areas and see how we can help. So in my opinion, what helps in any type of services spend, and there's a slightly different way to do this in terms of like buying physical items, but it's kind of similar. But this is really big in services, I've noticed, because they're invisible and they don't stock and they don't pile up in your warehouse or anything. The first step is trying to create visibility. So hopefully this concept I'll be able to explain it well, which is before we see the IT department and what they kind of see in their head and what the finance department sees in their head. So finance, accounts payable, all that. They're like, oh, we pay $1,000 a month for bill A every month, and we pay $1,000 a month for bill B every month. And the IT department is like, well, service, if you're lucky, service A is paid for by bill A, and service B is paid for by bill A, and service C is paid for by bill B. But they don't really know that much about how it costs. And if they were told that their life depended on it, they probably couldn't send you anything in the next 24 hours explaining to you kind of what's going on in much detail. But when you create visibility, you make some interesting discoveries. And I found in complex billing situations, you'll see things like service A is $500 and it's in bill E, and you're kind of joining the two views of the world together and creating a granular visibility into the individual details. And you'll see that service B costs $500, and so the bill adds up to thousands. That makes sense. But then you're also noticing, well, bill B, there's actually two services in there. And the IT department doesn't seem to know anything about service Z, but it costs $500 a month. And this happens all the time, not when you only have, 3 or 4 services, but when you have hundreds of services or even dozens of services. I found this happens all the time. It's very consistent. And this doesn't just apply to IT services. This applies to pretty much any type of vendor services. So, maybe there'll be some things you guys will see in other aspects of your business where this will be helpful. So the next step, in my opinion, with my experience, is analysis of the inventory. So you want experts asking 3 questions of every billing line item. Is this billed correctly? Is it aligned with business needs? And are better rates or solutions available? So here we kind of have a simple diagram, just kind of check off. Somebody takes a look. Okay, has somebody made sure that, okay, did the contract say it was $500 a month? Okay, yes. Is it still needed? Yep, we're still going to use it for the next few years. Is a price right? And then it might be like, well, no, actually, it's not $500 anymore. The price is different these days. And then you can see here in Service Z, nobody's ever heard of Service Z for years. Nobody's even thought about it. Nobody's using it. Okay, well, we don't need it anymore. So there's a different answer for that service than there is for the other 3. And then, so the result is analysis discovers that you're paying bills that contain billing errors, charges for unused services, charges for above market rates, and you're looking at like 10 to 50% waste. And category which I specialize in, which is landline telecom. It sounds nuts, but if you give me like $100,000 budget, $1 million budget, odds are I'm going to find 50% waste. It's happens all the time, like somewhere around that. It's pretty crazy. But numbers are definitely lower in a lot of other areas, but a lot of people are saying that, they're finding, probably at least like 20, 35% savings in like cloud, software as a service, stuff like that. Definitely the more complexity there is, the more likely you're going to find these problems. So you can see here, if we renegotiate everything to market rate and we get rid of the unused service, there are all these savings, and it totals to about $950. And so you do cost about $1,050. So you have around 50% savings. And the amazing thing about this is you found all these savings, but you haven't cut back any service levels. You haven't made anybody make any difficult decisions. No one's suffering. No one's going to complain. Maybe the vendor's a little annoyed, but they're charging other people $350 a month. So, why are they going to be mad at you that you want to pay $350 too? So there's really nothing particularly contentious or painful about this. And we'll go into some more details as to how to accomplish this. So my recommendation is the best practice reducing costs 10 to 60% is have experts who understand IT products, which could very well be you guys, but it could also be people you work with, and I can help you find such people if you'd like help. Have experts who understand IT products, analyze your vendor billing data and contracts, uncover hidden vendor cost savings, and implement those savings. And this creates 10 to 60% savings while maintaining or increasing service levels. And also it's keeping the vendors in this scenario, which is also can be super helpful. But for some of you guys might not want your clients to keep the vendors, but this also allows you to provide justification for why your clients should stop working with the current vendors, because you really deeply understand what your clients are buying today, and you can present a solution which makes hard financial sense as well as makes sense from improving quality of service standpoint. And so it's much more justifiable this way, what you're doing. So this can be very helpful for anybody who's in the business of trying to sell more products. So I'll go into process flow a little bit. You want to have like a kind of initial consultation discovery. You can start this off in like the strategic business reviews and the technology roadmaps that you guys do with clients and prospects. You can do initial kind of cost assessment and analysis. Then you come, and that's where you kind of create that inventory, come up with like a cost optimization strategy. And then you would implement and execute those things. And then you would provide governance and continuous improvement. And so we'll go into some details as to how to make this more or less complicated, depending on, you know, how much time you guys have on your team to devote to this. But there are some ways you can delegate this to other people so that it doesn't. And this is my next slide. This sounds like a lot of work, which it can be. You know, I've found definitely a strong correlation between the amount of money we save clients and the amount of work we have to do, and it's fairly tightly correlated. So my suggestion is do what you can do easily, especially those of you who have, you know, people on staff who are already tasked with managing all sorts of costs for clients and for yourselves and the things that you're buying already as an MSP. Kind of leverage that know-how and what you have, and you know, do more of it for your clients. And then bring in outside experts for the rest. So I'll try to give some examples that are hopefully going to be helpful. So my suggestion again, as an MSP, you already have experience managing vendors and suggesting solutions. So here's an example. A client spends a lot on Microsoft 65. So why don't you help them reassign unused licenses? Help put users on the correct licenses. This could save a lot of money. This is something you guys could probably do for clients. You could probably charge clients for this as well. And here's another example. Client spends a lot on vendor X. So come in, suggest a newer, more cost-effective solutions from vendor X and vendor Y. And then the client gets a choice. They decide what they want to buy. And then you get a commission and you can charge for support. And one of the things I'm hearing people say is, you know, become like a business solution provider where you guys are helping to recommend great new business solutions, especially if you're specialized in an area. You have a lot of clients who are the same. Like I was talking to a private equity firm where they had an MSP which focused on insurance. And I was like, yeah, why don't you guys just understand the whole like software stack for all these insurance companies? And then you can just kind of rinse and repeat and keep sharing the best solutions, the best practices for all these firms. And that way they're set up with every time they get new employees, everyone has the best stuff. They really love working there. And it's all because this MSP is doing a great job. So this is an example of something I think most MSPs could do and could easily figure out how to do if they haven't really, you know, thought about doing it as a repeatable process. However, I think you should also bring in experts who can help with some or all of the process. And I think that experts can often enhance your current process. So I've spent years, you know, in this space. So I've identified these people and gotten to know them. But I mean, I'd be happy to. Hopefully, we'll talk about this more. Probably talk about this more, but I'd be happy to like make introductions as well. So as I was saying, we know experts who help with a wide variety of IT vendors. Please reach out. We can help. And so here's an example. So find like experts who know how to negotiate clients' new six-figure purchases from Oracle or ServiceNow or Salesforce. So try to find people like that. And these are typically going to be people who've worked for Oracle, now worked for Salesforce, or worked in that space for a long time. So if you find people like that, they can really help your clients free up a lot of money, and then that's more money which they have to spend with you guys. And then here's another example. So let's say clients spend $100,000 on their WAN, internet, and voice services. Clients can keep their vendors. We do all the work. You could hire experts like myself, where we do all the research, we do all the implementation, and we typically save clients 50% of their spend. So that's, you know, for a company with, you know, hundreds of employees to thousands of employees, you know, that could be easily six figures a year, maybe even, you know, $1 million, $2 million over the next few years in savings. So that's another example of like experts. Another example, six-figure AWS spends can usually be reduced by around 33%, and you can do this by using tools and experts to identify and implement optimization and better pricing. And there are probably things you could make this your own practice, but you could also partner with other people, and they could do all the work for you, and instead of training your own people how to do it. Okay, here's another idea. Your channel salespeople may also be able to help you analyze client data and suggest better options. So example, you work with Microsoft, ask your rep to help you get a better deal for your client during renewal, and they'll especially love it if you shed some old licenses and adopt some new products. But you could, reach out to them, ask them to be a resource, ask them to find resources who could help you. And another strategy is, push back on vendors and ask them to help, and just insist they provide clarity and answer basic questions, and just kind of get the client on the same page with you, and just let the vendors know, like, hey, we need to understand like where all this money is going. It's just these bills are really complicated. Tell us what's going on here. How do we know we're being billed correctly? How do we know we're not buying things we don't need? How can you help us get some better rates, etc. This is not going to be as effective, in my opinion, as getting outside experts, but something's better than nothing. So, even if it's, a quarter as effective or half as effective, that can still be some good money. And you can also use your insights to know if the vendors are or not doing a good job and providing real clarity. I think that's one of the big things is you can kind of build up that judgment to be able to assess if vendors are kind of doing the right thing or not. So here's an example. A client had a hosted VoIP bill with a great price per seat. And we asked the vendor to explain the $6,000 a month in charges for MACD tickets. And so it turned out that the client wasn't using them anymore. And so that's $6,000 a month saved. And, it was really a process of, hey, let's take a look at the bill. Let's understand what's on the bill by asking the vendor to explain it to us. And when they explained it to us, the explanation was, oh, yeah, we're just charging you for something you don't use anymore post-COVID. So these opportunities can happen all the time. Okay, another one of my suggestions, leverage your project management skills. Clients often aren't able to follow through to implementation on their own. So whatever kind of ticketing and process systems you guys are using to support clients, you can kind of leverage that and say, okay, we asked the vendor to help with these things. We're going to follow up with them, every week or every month until we get the new bills and things are fixed. And we'll kind of just keep doing that. I know probably a lot of stuff is tickets are obviously you want them solved as quickly as possible, but I'm sure there's also projects you guys engage in on your client's behalf. So a lot of clients just don't have time to fix this stuff, and we find things all the time where clients thought they had fixed things, but the vendor, not surprisingly, wasn't super enthusiastic about fixing it, and kind of forgot to do it, and we discovered it, and then we went and followed through for the client and made sure the vendors we didn't stop until the vendors did it. So you can leverage that. I recommend document your wins, publicize them in your strategic business reviews. We definitely recommend having those regular meetings with clients, sharing with them like, hey, this is how we add value, this is how we're doing like a great job. And then also recommend be proactive as contracts expire and solutions age. And as part of the inventory, what would come with that would be like a contract calendar, contract expiration calendar. So we know what's under contract, when the different vendors expire and need to be renegotiated. And then you guys could be there to help your clients get the best possible deal. And potentially, with a lot of cases, you can sell them stuff. Okay. So here are some suggestions, which, this works for other people. Everyone's different, but maybe some of these will work for you guys. How to position your MSP as a business partner, not just an IT provider. So what I'm hearing is that when clients see you, not just fixing tech, but helping them recover budget and reinvest in growth, you stop being a cost center and become a strategic partner. and you're helping them get value. And helping clients uncover and eliminate hidden IT costs that does deliver real and measurable business value. And you can move up the value chain. You can stop selling just support. You can sell business solutions, and this is part of the business solution, but you're also helping to free up budget for the business solutions you want to sell as well. And by helping clients reallocate their IT budget, you're providing a business solution. You're moving budget to new business solutions that you can sell and support. And understanding your client's current business includes the vendors they use. Understand the vendors which they're buying. Like, what's the value being provided? Why are you working with them? Is it still being provided? What's missing? How can you maximize value? And you can have these very high-level conversations, which are great, but also finding a way to get your team, your organization, to go in and granularly understand the value on the individual billing line item level is also extremely valuable. And that's hopefully one of the lessons about visibility earlier is that, sure, everyone needs, telecom services or whatever it is, but on a granular level, it actually turns out that they don't really need half of what they're buying. So this can be really helpful, and you can help. But in other cases, we've seen this all the time, working with like contract negotiations where, vendors are going to want to sell you all sorts of stuff you don't really need. And if you're familiar with those vendors or have outside experts, you can help guide the clients and be like, look, you're not really going to use these services, et cetera. Like, this is just kind of fluff they like to put in, like, don't really pay for it. And then that can provide a lot of value to your clients. So I recommend have strategic conversations about the business and where they'd like to see improvements, and also, I guess, the business as a business, and then also I think the business of IT or IT operations as well. So here's some sample emails which you could send people. We've been doing strategic check-ins with clients, quick reviews of their business priorities and IT roadmaps to make sure we're fully aligned with where they're headed, or we'd love to schedule a strategic roadmap session with you, a conversation to understand your organization's goals and where your technology is today and where it needs to be and what's possible going forward. This is kind of a good high level, kind of like really help understand and help make sure you're aligned with what they're doing, but also help them align themselves with what they want to accomplish. So when you can help clients free up capital, then you can lead them in how to use it strategically. You've helped them find the money, and then you can also help lead them in like, hey, this is how to help spend it. And in my opinion, you're no longer just solving IT problems on the sort of technical lower level, but you're shaping business outcomes. And I think you'll see, and I think to the degree you've probably seen this already yourself, and just hopefully open up the possibilities of doing more of it. Okay, here's getting close to the final section, how to leverage IT cost optimization to fund digital transformation for clients. So when you spend less money on legacy IT, that frees up budget for new projects, pretty much by definition. Here's a quote from a client. Berlin Pacific found much more savings than we expected, and found savings were so significant, they were already planning how we will be reallocating them and reinvesting into technology upgrades. So this is super exciting. They didn't think they were going to save a lot of money, and then all of a sudden they had all this money to spend on the stuff they wanted to buy, because they definitely didn't want to keep spending more money with AT&T. If your client's spending on an IT vendor category like cloud or software as a service, and it's 10 to 50% more than it needs to be, then the return on investment drops by 9% to 33%. So the more the costs go up, the less the value there is for any particular vendor. And I think it's easier for CFOs and CIOs to justify investment in IT if they know that spending is managed rigorously. And frankly, I think people who are not in the IT department, but are kind of looking outside and looking in, they know that most IT departments aren't really managing the spending optimally, and they they just, it's tough for them because they don't feel comfortable saying like, oh, whatever money we give to IT will just be, super well managed and won't be wasted, and it'll be a super rigorous process. And we're definitely, you know, um, they're definitely pinching pennies is the wrong expression, but I think you guys know what I mean. But there's definitely that perception which people have in their gut, and it's because most IT departments don't have a process in place to really manage vendor spending and do much in between contract renewals. But hopefully we've outlined a process here which works, and something you guys could use to help them move in the right direction. So less wasted money equals more money for you. And one of the things I was going to suggest too is, you could get from us, you could work with us. We could offer like a free IT spend diagnostic, and you could resell that at 100% margin. Or we could sit with you guys and try to figure out, hey, how do we do like a technology roadmap? And actually, there are people out there who they have services, where clients spend thousands of dollars a month, and and what the client gets in return is somebody who basically, provides sort of management and advice on what to do with IT vendors. And, the clients willingly give money for somebody to do all this because they don't have the time to do it internally. So there's definitely a bunch of things you could do with this to make money, and sell clients this as a service, in addition to, getting commission on selling things, getting commission from experts like myself who would go in and do the work for your clients, and then also all the money which the clients would free up to then spend on the things you think they should buy, which would be best for them, and that you sell them. So there's a bunch of different ways we could help. So we'd love to, please reach out to me if you'd like to learn more about any of this, and definitely be happy to sit down and spend hours with you guys. Questions and answers, please reach out via email, info@berlinpacific.com. I'm Anders Mikkelsen at Berlin Pacific. I'm the only one on LinkedIn. Also, Anders Mikkelsen in New York City area. So, please reach out and connect. Would love to hear from you guys. And I think this is my my final slide. Yep, that's right. So, how do we do on time here?
Perfect. Actually, a little ahead of time than usual. So yeah, lots of time for questions, comments for Anders. I also popped Anders' LinkedIn in the chat, so
Okay.
A direct link there for anyone that wants to connect with him on LinkedIn. But yeah, floor is yours. We got 11 people in the chat right now, so if there's any questions, let them rip.
Okay, great. So Austin said he's gonna.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good. Okay. Yeah. So I'm curious if anyone even wants to say anything about how they've seen quarterly reviews working for them, or anyone wants to share any experiences. And let's see, Adam, any questions which spring to mind for you?
You know what? I don't. I thought pretty thorough, man. Peter looks like he's typing right now.
Okay.
I know I told you before. Oh, usually I have his camera. Okay, damn it. Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
know I
Peter.
said I usually have questions. But pretty thorough, man. You kind of left the audience full.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too much of a fire
No.
hose.
No. It was great. It was great.
But I think one of the things which is interesting too is I've noticed how do you put it? When you realize something is possible too, then you start to see ways to do it and ways to do it easily. So hopefully this will provide a little inspiration in that area in terms of, what's possible, and that you kind of can. It is possible to save a lot of money. It is possible to do without a lot of pain. It is possible to get people to do the work for you. It's possible to get vendors to do it for you. And there are people who want to help, and I think it's pretty cool. I think it's going to help. It's going to help just improve your clients, and just improve the. I think it's going to be great. The MSPs who go out and really provide those business solutions and our strategic partners, I think they're really going to thrive. And there's people are seeing a lot of growth in there. And thank you so much, Dustin. Yeah, definitely. Software bloat and process bloat. And that's one of the other things too, right? Is people are probably aware of is there's definitely people out there who are, like I believe it's the Dustin, I think it is, who are providing software solutions that MSPs can sell, where you can leverage things like built into Microsoft Power Apps, and instead of your clients buying expensive software as a service solution, you can be the provider of that solution for your clients, and you can bill your clients every month and keep all the support revenue for that. And I'm trying to think.
One question.
Yes.
You said that you're helping businesses to basically get their data, their IT infrastructure being partially saved. Did you been in MSP at all? I mean, did you done MSP work?
Oh, I collaborate with MSPs. I've worked in IT departments. I don't believe I've worked directly I have not been an employee of an MSP, if that's what you're asking, but I've worked with MSPs and I've worked as an IT infrastructure manager. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Basically, my experience shows it's kind of much more difficult than getting to a customer, especially as a small, medium businesses. It's very, very difficult to get them at least a strategic overview. They don't want to reveal anything of their businesses to you, as long as even as a free service. Why they should give it to you? They don't give it to you. Nothing. It's very, very difficult to get them.
Well, yeah, I think that's the challenge. Then is to understand why that is, but there needs to be. That needs to be a goal. I think for everybody is it. It's difficult for me to find clients as well. And I don't know why. I think everyone I talk to and say, hey, I can save you a ton of money, should immediately drop everything they're doing and call me back and insist that I come down the next day and get to work. But that's not what happens for me, unfortunately. But I think you want it to be a goal that you have to find a way to regularly meet with the clients and highlight the value you're providing and try to understand at least how do you fit into the big picture. And so you're right, maybe they're not going to give you the big picture, but that's what you're working your way up the value chain is, right? You're going from, okay, I'm here, so I'm going to ask, well, what's going on up here one level above? Okay, now I made it here. What's going on here one level above? And so you got to work your way up. You're not going to go, right straight to the CEO's boardroom, after, doing a wiring job or something like that. But you can understand the bigger context of, what a cabling job was or what the desktop support role is, and kind of see how you fit into the bigger picture. I think it's essential to figure this out. And it's going to be different for everybody. It's going to be different for every client. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but it's a worthy goal, and people kind of have to do it.
A few more minutes for questions.
Well, I'm curious. So how do you guys get your clients then, Reza?
So we're a small MSP in Northern Virginia. I'm 32 years in the business, and it's very, very difficult to get to the people who get revealing the information to us, even though if you promise them to saving money. So, for example, we provide free services. People wants to reach compliance, which in Northern Virginia quite important to have compliance services. So we told them we can show you the gap, we can show you what you need to do, and but they are reluctant to reveal those information to you, obviously for good reason.
Yeah.
They don't tell. Obviously, if they reveal this to, they think they are exposed.
Yes.
And that makes them afraid. And I don't know how to can reveal it. Basically, all this stuff they're revealing to me as all, even though I give them NDA as a reference, but they don't reveal everything.
Sure. No, of course. And I guess what I was asking is, so are you talking about existing customers?
No, I'm talking about the lead. They are leads. My existing customer.
Well, that's and that's definitely a sales question, and we're we're not even talking here about new clients. I mean, we're talking about old clients. We're talking about how do you help your old clients and the clients who really want to talk to you about how you can help. And my point is, we'll integrate into your regular meetings with clients. Like, if you have a relationship with a client, like go, because I don't think you're that kind of firm, but I've talked to so many people where I didn't even think about it that much, but I just kind of asking like, oh, blah, blah, what you guys gonna do? And then I discovered like, oh, you guys don't even like talk to your clients and tell them like the good work you've done for them. And like, they have no idea. They just kind of like, wow, like, I mean, they might just leave because they don't really know anything about you and what you do. So I was thinking more than that context where you have where you are a vendor and you're an approved vendor, kind of really reach out and talk to people. But then also when you do get those meetings, yeah, you guys, you're already doing that. Obviously, you're trying to look at the big picture and all that. So I agree. But yeah, that's definitely a different sales question. But I do agree. Like, that's the trick. Hey, how do we figure out the opening wedge so that we build that relationship, so that they're willing to share a little bit. How do we do that? I think that's something we all MSPs have in terms of getting new clients. But I know there's Adam, do you guys have any upcoming presentations? I know there's some people who work with you who are great at helping with sales for MSPs for new clients.
Yes. I don't know offhand, but what I will do is I'll pop the GTIA event and education upcoming events link in the chat here. Literally, I think we're hosting one thing a day until the end of the year. So tons of opportunity for sales growth and working with clients and all sorts of cool content.
Yeah, and if anyone's interested in getting more help with like coaching for being an MSP and getting new clients, like brand new clients, like please reach out to me and Adam, and I will collaborate with him, because I know there's people who GTIA works with who are really good at this, and we'll try to figure out how to introduce you to the right person. So
love it, man.
Yeah. That'd be very easy, I think. So, great. Well, this has been fantastic. I think of any other common questions. Let's see. But yeah, definitely like hopefully this creates some new ideas. Definitely look into I think it's just kind of the ideas of like, hey, how do we sort of manage the MSP client relationship with the SBRs and stuff like that. But I think it also ties into questions too about process and delegation, and trying to think of clever ways to kind of leverage what we're already good at, and then kind of bring in new people and experts to kind of do kind of like specialized things which are difficult. I'll give an example. I had was a partner in a consulting firm where we worked around tax credit consulting, and the whole process we did was we went from let's hire an accountant at a huge amount of money per hour to do all this work to we got these people who time wasn't so valuable, frankly, and we got them to do all the busy work and spend countless hours tracking down stuff and getting documents for clients, yada yada yada. We got it all down to all the data tied in a nice little bow, and we had the high value experts spending a couple hours doing the work for the clients, and it was just way more efficient that way. So there's all sorts of stuff I think which MSPs you guys could do to leverage these things and help clients. So.
Well, Anders, if it's okay with you, I think we'll give everyone 5 minutes to hit the washroom before their next meeting, grab a bite, if that's the case. Just want to take the time to, Anders, thank you so much for spending the hour with us and providing your expertise. Thank you everyone who joined and spending the hour with us. Again, hit the GTI link. We're hosting webinars between now until the end of the year. Tons of content, tons of things you can benefit from. Educate yourself, improve your MSP. We're here. Reach out to myself or Anders if you have any questions. We'll share the deck, we'll share the recording, and thank you again.
Hey, thank you so much, Adam, and thank you guys for attending. And I hope this was interesting and informative and educational. And yeah, I'd love to talk to anyone who wants to talk to me. So please reach out. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you.